Good Monday morning, everyone. Whew, okay, do I have a weekend to talk to you guys about? But first, you guys are listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, Valerie, and our lovely author guest today is John Winn Miller. So you guys, let's dive into our weekend. So this isn't necessarily a weekend, but I feel like I need to give you these two stories so you can understand what happens in my house. My house is like a silent movie. It's very theatrical recently. So I'm going to tell you two instances. One happened last week. One happened earlier in the week. So Russell, be patient with me. So, okay, I have two daughters. You guys know this. And so the sass in my house is full-fledged, okay? And they get it from me. I'm proud of it. I just don't like being on the receiving end of it, okay? I don't. So we were at dinner and my youngest was refusing to eat her dinner. And so I'm very much a stickler that, okay, well, then you don't get anything the rest of the day, like, or the evening, but then I'll sneak her like something because that's just who I am. So she was doing that. And so she was throwing a fit and we have new dining chairs. So she pushed the dining chair back. Well, she fell. So it was like karma. So me and Josh looked at each other and we were kind of like, well, that's what you get because you were throwing a fit. But then, I coddled her. Exactly. So then I coddled her, right? Okay, so I'm coddling her. Me and Josh are making this eye contact. Josh is my husband. And we're all kind of like, well, that's what she gets, So she's all distraught. She fell. She hurt something. And then Josh sees a lot of blood on the floor. And I'm like, oh, my God. So then I'm checking her for blood. I'm like, okay, this is serious. Where are you bleeding, right? Okay, so it wasn't my daughter. She had fallen and hit my older puppy and taken his nail off. So his wick was bleeding. He had no idea. So then here's when true chaos starts. Okay, I told you these are going to be good.
He runs through the house bleeding everywhere.
No, he's running around my table. He has no idea. So then my youngest, Sky, has gone from, oh, I hurt my elbow to, oh my God, I killed the dog. And Meadow's over here like, Mom, can I clean it up? Mom, it's not coming up. And then I got Josh over here yelling, I don't know, because I was like, I think we need to take him in. Like, it's bleeding. I can't get it to stop. So I'm applying pressure. And Josh is like, hold on, Amy. Let me use Claude, and it'll tell me how to do it. So he's pacing, looking up how to fix Thor's leg. I'm over here just holding it like, I think if you gave me some baking soda, I think we'll be okay. Like, we need to clot it, what is it? Coagulate? I can't say that word, but that's what I've been sitting here trying to do. Josh is over here pacing on Claude. Meadow's telling me it's not coming up, and Sky's over here rocking. I've killed the dog. And this is just at dinner. And I was just trying to teach a lesson, and all hell broke loose. Okay. So
That's
forward.
A good story. I like that story.
So fast forward to Thursday. Okay. I am helping babysit for a friend of mine. I have my kids at home. I'm getting stuff done. I'm like, okay, I'm doing meetings. I'm doing laundry. I swept my floors. I mean, I was doing it with 5 kids. I got 1 baby asleep, right? I was like, all right, I got this. And I took a phone call of a potential client looking just at what else I do, right, besides book promotions. So I'm on the phone with her. Next thing I see, Josh is flying from his office into the kitchen, and that which I had just cleaned. FYI, I had just cleaned the kitchen, okay? And he comes flying in here, and Meadow looks at me because I'm in the laundry room, and she just yells, fire! I'm like, oh my God, I was gone for 5 minutes, you guys. Literally 5 minutes. So they had moved the pizza box, which was where I am on my island, which is like the far end, over to the other side, flipped the lid above my candle. The jelly or like gummy worms fell into my candle and caught fire. So then the top of the pizza thing caught fire. And I'm over here just like, what the hell? It was 5 minutes. So Josh is spraying water from my like faucet, right? And I'm on the phone trying to prevent chaos coming through my voice to this lady. And I'm scooping the jelly beans or whatever, gummy worms, right? No thought and recollection that they're currently on fire. I have burnt my thumb. You guys can't see it. It's like a 2nd degree. It's white. I'm over here and I'm just standing on the phone like, well, we also do publicity.
I'm so never going to visit you.
And it was just like,
this sounds awful.
You would be so proud of me because this lady was like, well, what else are you doing? I'm like, well, we do publicity. My thumb's on fire. I feel like this plastic is melting through my thumb. Josh has the water, so I can't put it underwater. So I'm just sitting here letting it burn, trying to get the gummy worms off of my table. And it was a quick little 5-minute thing. And Josh cleared the lid. My thumb's still hurting. And I'm steady having this conversation. It was literally
that your girl was yelling fire.
They
She
were
was
like, we're
alerted.
terrified.
Alert.
They were watching a movie. Oh, we're so scared. They were watching a movie. Okay. Like they were just fine. It's not like it was engulfed in, like my whole kitchen was in flames. It was just the lid. But it was just like silent movie is so theatrical, and you're just like, oh, I can tell, like stuff's hitting the fan, And I'm over here just steady talking to this lady, like there's no issues in the world, trying to like prevent this whole thing. So yeah, that was my last like 2 weeks, you guys. It's been a lot of fun.
Okay, this is evidence of one of my theories. Candles are stupid.
Oh no, I just
candles
need one of those
are stupid.
candle
See,
things.
you wouldn't have had that. Candles are stupid.
Oh no, I just need one of those candle warmers. But they're just like, like I don't want to have a lamp on my island, So I don't know.
I'm gonna steal those details for a story. So thank you very much.
You are welcome, because I can't believe this whole thing happened.
That's a great opening.
It was just insane. That's literally just chaos in my house. We went from I killed the dog to setting my kitchen on. It was fun, you guys. And then, I had to do the bane of my existence, which is laundry. I had to do because, we were getting ready for Sedona. So that's currently what I've had to do. So what all did you guys do? I hope it was way less eventful than my past 2 weeks. So how were your guys' weekend? What all did you guys do? Valerie, did you go to any events or anything like that?
I actually went to the opening of this thing called Time Mission over by the Memorial area in Houston here, and it was really fun because I've never really done anything like that. It's 25 separate rooms, and they all and you have a little bracelet, and you scan when you go in, and you're trying to gain points by how many tasks you can accomplish in each room. And some of them are escape rooms, which are they're like, this is like low-key escape room. And then some of them are physical challenges, like how many basketball hoops can you make? And then some of them are brain challenges where you're doing all these different things. But I didn't realize I could have brought someone with me, but I went by myself, and so I was pairing up with some other people participating, and it was really fun. It was hard. I mean, one of the rooms was like a Mission Impossible thing, walking through the lasers, and you're like, okay, not that anything bad's gonna happen, but it's foggy. You're walking through lasers. Some of them were like matching like math problems and diagrams and things like that. So it was the gamut of everything. There was even a double Dutch room where you had to I did not do that because that was like for the younger people, but just because I was like, first of all, I can't do that. But they were like where you jump on the lights as they blink and going back and forth and back and forth. I was like, no. But that was great. A lot of people were loving that. And what else? It was just fun. It's like some of them were like carnival kind of games, getting them in those holes. So it was a lot of different challenges, and you could pick and choose which ones you wanted to do. But I tried to do every single one except the double Dutch. And then I don't know. My score was very average. Because I was like, I don't know what to do because I was kind of caught off guard. But that's a cool thing. I was like, this is going to be so packed for summer. People coming in, challenging their kids. It was great. That's great.
Did you do this for an article you were writing about it, by the way?
Yeah. It's for my website.
So.
Yeah.
And where is that article going to appear?
It's going to be on Hot in Houston now. So
okay, so that's very cool. Tell us about your articles.
But the video. The video will be the key on that one for my social. And that's the really fun part. Just trying to catch people in action, and trying to catch myself in action was even worse because I was like, this is bad. I suck at this. I was expecting to come out with like 100 or something because some people had like big scores, but it definitely takes some people there because it's challenging. The whole time I'm there, I'm like, man, I should have brought my kids. Amy, you could take your kids, but it might be better.
They burn it down.
Well, I mean, okay, listen. It's the carefree spirit is how I've chosen to embrace this whole thing. It's just she's very carefree.
It's healthy. That's a healthy spirit.
I just imagine what I'm in for. She's not even 6, okay? So it's more. I'm just bracing myself. But no, that sounds like I cannot double Dutch to save my life. You're doing good.
No, I don't think I could jump rope anymore. Like I used to jump rope a lot, but
yeah,
I don't trust myself. I'm kind of clumsy.
Yeah, I feel you. I don't want to do that at all.
Don't have time for a broken arm.
Oh, no, I don't. John, what about you?
Or-
What did you do this weekend?
So there was a birthday party for two of my oldest friends from 60 years ago. We went to elementary school together.
Wow.
That's so
And
awesome.
well, I use their names when I'm writing my novels. What am I going to name this character? Well, I usually pick a friend, and I had picked these two friends for different books, and I had kind of forgotten that the first one is a guy named Mike Critchfield. And in my first book, one of the villains is named Critchfield, and I kill him off. And so every time
As you should.
every time I see Mike, who's a wonderful guy, and I don't know why I picked that name. He's like, "Why'd you kill me off?" And so that was my fun adventure, being around a bunch of old friends from a long, long time ago.
Oh, I love
It's
that.
a good story too. Everybody has better stories than me this week.
I have a friend that I've known. I have some friends that I've known since first grade, and last year we just had our big milestone high school reunion. So and I saw some of them because we all went to high school together. So
Your
that was so
10-year
cool. You can
reunion,
have
right,
friends.
Valerie? Not only
Huh?
your 10-year reunion, right?
Oh yeah, only my 10-year reunion.
Because you're like 29.
Yeah.
True.
But that's cool.
Okay.
You can have friends from such a long time ago.
So I used to live in a high-rise downtown, and we lived downtown. It was a great life. The Houston Rockets were my neighbors. And so this weekend, that's what we did. We went back downtown for the weekend. It was great. My favorite pool, the tunnels, the restaurants, our old club that we used to hang out at. So that's what I did, just kind of reminiscing the good life when we lived downtown and I wasn't grandpa 2 blocks away.
Nice.
But
It
the
was great.
construction in Houston, Russell, that construction right now going on.
Well, construction and World Cup is bad between here and downtown. But once you're down there and that's the only place you are, you don't really, it's just, you're fine. It's
Yeah.
just transportation between the memorial area and downtown in Houston will be impossible for the next 3 weeks.
That just doesn't sound fun to me at all.
What?
That.
No, having
What?
the World Cup here is going to be like
The
That's
it's already
traffic.
in chaos.
The traffic, because Houston's an hour from itself, so the traffic already doubling. People,
Well, not even that.
It just sounds like a lot of people.
I know.
It is.
We're
Yeah.
planning on going to the Christmas festivals in Germany next
Oh,
Christmas.
Ooh.
And so we were going to base in Munich and take trains every day to different little villages, festivals. And the reason I'm bringing it up is because the train rides are like an hour. And because I live in Houston again, uh, an hour is like, that's going to the grocery store. That's nothing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Right,
See,
John? I mean, you know
Yeah.
that.
And the trains are wonderful there. So
Well, I'm about to find out. Before we proceed, I need to thank our listeners. We're top 1% on Good Pods and top 10% on many of the other podcast channels on author interviews and sometimes arts. We make some of the arts genres. It's creative, like Amy is creative with her authors on getting them into genres. And we want to thank everyone for listening to us. We've been around for 10 years and we can't believe it. Amy, where can people find us on the podcast channel?
yeah, you guys, 10 years. I've known Russell for 10 years. Oh my gosh. And we still like each other. It's a big compliment. I love it. But you guys can find us anywhere that you can search for a podcast. So Amazon Music, Spotify, Good Pods, iTunes, Google Play, anything like that. You can find us. Type in Author Talk, look for the Crimson, Red, and Gold, which is the rebranding that Russell always talks about that me and Dina did together. But if you want to watch us, we're pretty animated. Like Russell always points out, I don't have a poker face. I control what comes out of my mouth, but my face mostly says other things. So it's one of those things you just have to take me for how I am. But you can watch us over on our YouTube channel, all of our social media platforms, and our Facebook group if you want to. You can go and see all of our episodes from how we started to how we have evolved and to where we are today. It's a big year or all around for 10 years and stuff. So, but with that being said, we do love talking to authors, hearing about their stories and their books, and hopefully finding a new read. So with that being said, Russell, Valerie, take it away and get John talking about his book.
Okay, John, I always like to start with getting people to know you, because this, by knowing your background, it kind of follows in really well to what you're writing about. Can you give us a little bit of background about yourself, please?
Well, was a journalist for nearly 40 years. I was an investigative reporter. I was a Pulitzer finalist. I was a foreign correspondent. And then I was a newspaper editor and publisher in a couple of different places. I write screenplays, none of which I've sold, and I produce indie movies, one of which the best one is called Band of Robbers. The two people who wrote and directed it also did Sandra Bullock's last movie, The Lost City, Adam and Aaron Neese. So I claim full credit for their success. And then now I became a novelist during COVID, because I'd started in journalism because I wanted to be a novelist, but I realized at the time I don't know how to write and I've got nothing particularly interesting to write about. So I walked into the student newspaper and never really walked out, and finally learned how to write. So that's kind of my story. And I live in Lexington, Kentucky.
Nice.
Good friend of mine is from San Antonio, James Roday Rodriguez, who was the star of Psych, is from San Antonio. Dates my daughter, who's also an actress, who's been on a number of TV shows and movies. So that's pretty much what I do now. I write, I play a lot of tennis and play with my two dogs and large cat, my wife Margot, who's a potter. And so that's sort of my story. Now, you said, how does that inform your writing? Well, we'll talk more about the books, but they always say, write what you know. Well, I write about things I know absolutely nothing about. It's all research, and which is fun, but it's not the usual path.
Mm-hmm. And I know today the book we're talking about is not your first book. Can you kind of lead us up to what you've done in the past as well?
Yeah, it's actually the third standalone novel in a series it's the Peggy Sea saga. And it all starts with the first book, The Hunt for the Peggy Sea, which actually came out of a dream, believe it or not. I was watching a TV show with my daughter, Allison, and my wife, Margot. We were watching a movie, and I kept saying, I know I can write a better screenplay than that. This is terrible.
Yes.
You know, every writer does that. And so that night I went to bed, and the next day I had a dream. And the next day when I woke up, I knew the first scene, I knew the last scene, and I knew the name of the ship, the Peggy Sea. I have no idea where any of it came from. I've never been in most of the places I wrote about. So it was about an American smuggler who rescues a Jewish family from Amsterdam on his rusty cargo ship, which upsets his mutinous crew of misfits who want to kill him, and sparks a chase by a U-boat captain who also wants to kill him. And so that's sort of the beginning of the series. And then the second book was called Rescue Run. It's about the captain of the ship who rescued Miriam the first time, goes back to Europe to rescue her father, who's about to be sent to a concentration camp. And of course, everything goes wrong. And they end up being chased all across Europe by the Gestapo, by French gangsters, by a a giant Dutch bounty hunter with one arm, which is based on a real character that the Nazi in Holland, they had bounty hunters, and involves a real life serial killer in Paris. And so that's where that ends. And then book 3, I'll give a little bit more description of that. I describe my writing style as if you put Christian Hanna and Kate Quinn in a blender with Tom Clancy and historian Ben McIntyre, and maybe a dash of Frederick Forsyth. That's my writing style. It's World War II, female protagonist, really based on accurate history, accurate technology. So the third book, Miriam in the Shadows, it's about a Dutch Jew, Miriam, who infiltrates a Nazi radioactive warhead plant only to face an impossible choice: save D-Day or the man she loves. So that's Miriam Maduro. She was tortured by the Nazis. She was rescued by the American father of her child, the hero, Captain Rogers, from the first 2 books. And then she's trained by the British Special Operations Executive as a silent killer and saboteur. But she's not some super spy. She's a young mother. She's haunted by survivor's guilt. She's in the longing for the child she had to leave behind. And as she's undercover, struggling to preserve her humanity, fighting inhuman evil, she's caught in the real-life toxic rivalry among Britain's intelligence agencies. MI6 wants to destroy the SOE by sabotaging her mission. And these are all kind of based on real stories. And the method is betray her American lover to the Nazis. So when she discovers that he's been captured right before she's ready to blow up the plant, she's torn. Pull the trigger and he dies. Don't, and thousands may be slaughtered on the beaches. So that's the story.
That's highly suspenseful. And my gosh, I feel like all your work experience you've really been able to, as I guess, covering all these different events around the world, has maybe impacted your love for this kind of adventure?
Yeah, well, when I was growing up, I loved adventure stories. I mean, Ray Bradbury, Edgar Rice Burroughs, Tarzan movies. Every chapter of a Tarzan book ends with him stuck in a tree with a line circling. How's he going to get down? So that did. And then I've covered a lot of really dramatic things as a foreign correspondent in particular.
Yes.
I traveled throughout the Middle East. I was in Beirut during the Civil War. I was in Chad during the Civil War, Eritrea, which eventually became part of Ethiopia during the famine, and covered a lot of terrorist attacks. So I was pretty used to describing crazy things like that. My whole career's been kind of crazy. My wife accuses me of being Forrest Gump because I show up in so many odd situations with famous people.
And also, I feel like your experience might have shaped how you did your character development, because the girl, Miriam, sounds so brave, but then she's got so many obstacles to overcome. The arc of the story kind of just keeps going, but then does, just relying on her personality. Sounds like you've defined all your characters so well. Do you feel like that has happened because of your experience as well?
Actually, yeah, because with each major character, I write a short biography. So I have to think, what do they look like? What do they sound like? How do they talk? Because each character has sort of a speech pattern, so they don't all sound alike. What's their hidden story? Like the Captain Jake Rogers, the captain of the Peggy Sea, he fled America as a teenager thinking that he had killed somebody at the U.S. Naval Academy. And his grandfather smuggled him out of the country, put him on a cargo ship for Europe, and he's never returned. He later learns that he didn't kill somebody, but he's got that kind of guilt. But both he and Miriam are also big readers, and they bond over their love for particular books, and they're constantly talking about different characters. Why are you acting like so and so, or you sound just like so and so from whatever book they're talking about.
Yes.
So yeah, I learned, particularly doing a lot of profiles of a lot of people, how to look for those things. What brand of cigarettes do they smoke? Because they all smoke. How do they walk? What kind of clothes are they wearing?
Sure.
What do they smell like? I try to use all five senses when I'm writing, whether it's a profile in a newspaper or in a novel.
Yes. Russell, you have questions?
I have 3 questions. How did you know, Valerie? The first question is, why do you write about World War II?
Research. When I first started, when I wrote the screenplay, there was no internet. There was no Amazon. So you had to actually go to a library and check out a book that you couldn't mark up because it was a library book. By the time I was doing the novel, there was Google and there was Amazon. So what I would do with a lot of the books that I would read is I would look at their bibliographies and find other books about that subject. And I'm meticulous in the research. I footnote my stories as I write them, so I can go back and double check to make sure I didn't get something wrong. And then I hired a submarine officer, retired submarine officer, to read the first book and make sure I got the naval terminology right, because I'd never been on a U-boat. I've never been on a tramp steamer, never been to most of the places I wrote about. And I also hired a historian in London to read over to make sure I wasn't making any egregious mistakes. So basically research. And the other thing that helped me a lot is now that I because of the internet, I've got access to all of these archives. I was able to read the diaries, the daily diaries of every U-boat captain, what the moon was like, what kind of mission they were doing. I was able to listen to interviews with the real life characters that I include in my books on the Imperial War Museum. So I could describe the way they sounded and even the way they sounded when they were smoking a cigarette. There's one character in this novel who's a true character named Vera Atkins. She was the number 2 for the SOE's French section. Now, the SOE was set up by Churchill at the beginning of the war to set Europe ablaze. They were saboteurs. They were parachuted in to work with resistance, to gather intelligence, and to blow things up. So I could hear Vera smoking a cigarette, and the way it's very unusual the way she does it. So I describe her in the book. So that's, it's just research, which is good and bad. Bad news is you go down these rabbit holes and say, wow, that's interesting. How am I going to use that? Well, let me see what else I can find.
All right.
John, who are your readers? Do you check Amazon who buys your books and all the demographics of it? Who are they?
I'm actually surprised it's not all men, all retired men reading about
men
World War
don't
II.
read books.
Yeah, that's it.
Men don't read.
It's mainly women, not as young. Typically, I can see on Facebook when I do ads the demographics of who's ordering it, and I can sort of target it. But believe it or not, it's about 50-50. A little leans older, leans more male than female. Because on the surface, just on the title, if you say it's a World War II thriller, that is not necessarily that something's going to appeal to a book club. And most of the book clubs are women because they're far better readers than men.
Absolutely.
But if you listen to what the plot's about and the characters that are involved, it really is more like Christian Hannah or Kate Quinn, where it's the struggle of a young woman put in an impossible situation, and how does she preserve her humanity, but also do what she has to do. I mean, she can be very empathetic, but she can also be a killer. At one point, Captain Rogers, Jake, is kind of talking to her about the things that she's done, the killing, and he said, it's not great to kill people, and she says, I don't kill people, I kill my enemy, and which sounds really harsh, but that's kind of the mindset you have to have if you're going to be undercover. You just got to be relentless. But in book 3, she starts suffering a lot of doubts about what she's doing. And it's really a story about good people who have to do bad things, and even Nazis who show a flicker of humanity. They're not black and white. So hopefully it appeals to a broader audience than just 18-year-old kids who like to go to superhero movies.
So my next question is, you've read, I'm sure, the thinking about Hemingway as becoming a newspaper writer and then a novelist. Was that part of why you did it? And what do you think of Hemingway?
I love Hemingway.
He's kind of out of fashion right now.
Yeah, he comes and goes because the myth is, if you don't read him, is you think he's just some crazy macho guy. And the thing is, if you read his books, a lot of his heroes die at the end. They're not they're not necessarily heroic, and they cry, so they show emotion. But his writing style, when I first started writing a novel, I made the rookie mistake of trying to write like John le Carré or Faulkner, very beautiful sentences and wonderful constructions and metaphors and similes, and I'm just not good at that. And what I am good at is clear, propulsive writing, action writing, and so I had to learn to pare down more like Hemingway. And again, the mistake about Hemingway, he's not just simple sentences.
It's a cliche to say that.
Yeah, and if you read him, he's not unfamiliar with semicolons or with really long sentences. Nothing like Faulkner, and he's also a genius at something that Bob Dylan is a genius at, is creating a nostalgia for something you've never seen or never been through because of the way it's described. Very sparsely, not many adverbs, not many adjectives, but just enough to get you attached to it. And so I was influenced by his writing style because I just love it, and it's closer to what I can do than Faulkner.
Why do you keep bringing up Faulkner? And also, did you you talk about your extensive research? Did you do research any of the recordings or stories in the Holocaust Museum about Jewish trials and tribulations during World War II?
Yes.
I'm actually recorded in there. I have a story of one of my clients that was chased by the Gestapo across Europe. So
really,
that's why.
Well, you would love this book because
I'm excited to read it.
It's got book 2 has the chase across Europe. Book 3,
no, that's why I was like, when you were describing book 2, I was like, what?
Yeah. So yes, I've had to do a ton of research. Book two actually gets into, the Holocaust wasn't just the concentration camps. That's the horrible end to it. But there was an even more horrible preface to it, where the dehumanization of Jews, turning them into subhumans by, they couldn't go to parks, they couldn't eat in restaurants, they were kicked out of all the universities. Eventually, they had to wear the Star of David. I mean, they were just reduced further and further to subhuman status. And in book two, I deal with the most bizarre and brutal and evil thing. It's there was in Holland, when they rounded up all the Jews, they sent them to what's called a transit center. It's called Westerbork in northern Holland. It was like a Potemkin village. So they had synagogues, they had a theater, they had weddings, and they all had jobs and they worked. And all it was is to keep them calm until they could put them on the train for Auschwitz. And so they had this hope, this false hope, oh, it's not going to be that bad. And it's just horrible psychology of that. And I actually had the largest hospital, one of the largest hospitals in Europe, because they wanted to keep their victims alive until they could kill them.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, and the sad part is it was ordinary people, ordinary soldiers, not monsters, who became Nazis or sympathizers in every country. There was always a group that would go along with the Nazis, no matter how cruel they were. Even in Holland, which was a refuge for Sephardic Jews who fled the Inquisitions during, the 1500s. Amsterdam was a refuge. They were welcomed. They formed lots of businesses. But during the war, it was the worst place to be a Jew. They had like 140,000 Jews. 75% of them didn't survive the war. It was the highest percentage of murders of the Jews of all the cities, of all the countries in Western Europe. Yeah. So anyway, I deal with a lot of those things in the books. In book three, it takes place in an abandoned coal mine, which is again based on a true story, where the Nazis in northern France were building V2 rockets. The real story, it was in a chalk factory in northern France. But it's run by slave laborers, thousands of slave laborers in their striped pajamas, living in the dark, dank world of industrial scale cruelty. And it's all based on true stories. And it's, again, they take some of the prisoners, same thing at Westerbork. Some of the Jews became the guards, and they became as cruel and as mean as the Nazis because they wanted to survive. So, I mean, it's all these it's not black and white. Nothing is simple, except for the evil.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Which it seems that's how, Miriam is pulled into that whole atmosphere in your book.
Yeah, she is. She infiltrates she's parachuted in and everything starts going wrong. So she has to get some resistance groups to help her get her explosives and the timers. She's been trained in Britain in what the SOE called gangster school, where they learn how to set explosives, they learn how to kill, they learn kill or be killed. Basically, it was also known as the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare because there were no rules. So she infiltrates the coal mine, working as a translator for a Polish geologist who's brought in to help stabilize this old mine that keeps collapsing. The galleys start collapsing. So that allows her to move around the it's like a 5-mile mine and figure out where am I going to put the bombs. But how does she, a couple of dilemmas is, one is how does she blow up this factory that they're trying to develop plutonium for an atomic bomb, and yet not kill thousands of slaves who are innocent people. It's stuck in the mines all the time. So she's got to figure that out. And she's also got to figure out, some of the Germans are nice to her and actually show a flicker of humanity. So does she become a Nazi and just, hardened, or does she stay a human being and have some empathy and sympathy for not only the slaves, but her enemies? So she has to be very clever. My characters are typically more brains than brawn. They're capable of extreme violence to survive. Miriam knows how to take care of herself if she has to. But she'd rather use sweetness and light rather than, her ability to snap a neck.
Is this the last in your series?
Well, it should have been, but it's no. Again, true story. After I finished the first book, The Hunt for the Peggy Sea, and turned it in, finally found a publisher after 50 rejections. When I turned it in to him, he said, you really need to just keep writing. I went, what? I have no idea what I'm going to write about. And then I stumbled upon some books about the Dutch bounty hunters, about the SOE. And so I'm okay, maybe I can do that. Same thing with book 3. Just by chance, I have a group of friends, guys' night out, we call it. We go to have meals and talk, have a little beer. And one of them is a Dutch geologist who worked in coal mines in Europe and in Appalachia, where I am in Kentucky, and started telling me these stories about all the things that could go wrong in a coal mine. I said, wow, that's pretty neat. So I started using him to give me ideas. So how do I blow up this mine in a way that doesn't look like sabotage? And he helped me a lot. And then when I finished with that, I said, okay, that's it. And then I had another idea. So I'm about a third of the way through book 4. So
nice.
I'm not, I keep thinking, well, I need to write on another subject, but I love these characters so much that
you want to keep them alive and just keep their stories thriving. Where can people find Miriam in the Shadows?
Wherever you buy books, it's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Kobo, Apple Books. A lot of local bookstores will have it. Walmart, all of those places. You can also go to my website, which is John Winn Miller. You can see my name.com. And it's got some links there where you can read the first 3 chapters of the previous books or of all the books, and order it. You can read more about me, about my absolutely bizarre career in journalism.
That's a fantastic career.
Yeah, it's we always joked. Knight Ridder, the company that I worked for, the joke was they kept moving me around so they could find a job I could actually do. So every couple of years I was transferred to a different paper or to a different job. So I worked the newsroom, I worked in advertising, I worked in marketing, I ran circulation. Then I was a publisher. So I did just pretty much everything till the industry collapsed. But I just love stories. So I in my writing style is somewhat unusual. I've seen some of the people you've interviewed talk about how they do 1,000 words a day or 2,000 or 3,000 words a day, and work X number of hours, quit at 3 o'clock on the dot and go run. I have no schedule. I have no quota. I don't put any pressure on myself. I enjoy what I do. I get up, I have coffee, play with the dogs, and come up to my office here and either do research or write. If I get a paragraph done, I'm thrilled. If I get several pages done, I'm happy. If all I've done is research and made some cool notes, that's fine. But the one rule I have is the one Hemingway had, is always quit when you know where you're going to start again the next day. So have a place where so you don't sit down the next day staring at a blank piece of paper saying, oh God, what am I going to do? I sort of have an idea of what I'm going to do.
Nice.
And I don't do a lot of rewriting at first. I just keep plowing on, and I don't worry about writing the perfect sentence. I just worry about writing the next sentence. And I can fix all of that later. And I've got some tricks that writers can use. I use. One of the best books I read after I wrote the first book is Saul Stein on Writing. I had never heard of it, and someone recommended it. It changed everything about the way I wrote. Very good advice. Made me really reconsider the way I structured sentences. I now keep a list of words that I always, at the end of a book, I'll search for, like walk. Change walk with one, stride, trudged, ran, struggled, anything to make it more active. And I have a bunch of useless words that you throw in when you write. Can I go eliminate them? And then I check all my verbs. Can I make them more active? Can I make them more emotional?
Yes.
And a lot of that came out of Saul Stein's book about how to write and how to keep the reader going from next sentence, and particularly at the end of the chapter. I tend to, since I started writing screenplays, I've learned to have a cliffhanger at the end of each act in a 3 or 5 act screenplay. So I do that with my books. Each chapter pretty much ends on a cliffhanger, hopefully to make you want to continue. And I have a lot of twists and turns, and good characters who turn out to be bad, and bad characters who actually do something nice. So I try to mix it up a lot.
I love that, but I hate being left on a cliffhanger. So as long as there's conclusions at an end of a book, I am a happy camper. But John, I feel like you, Valerie, and Russell can sit here and talk nonstop. And so eventually I have to call it at some point, because Russell can only give me the stink eye before he turns completely red. So it's one of those fun things, but we will have to have you back on again, John, when you finish book 4, so we can kind of dive further into your series and everything. But I really want to thank you for taking time out of your morning to come and hang out and chat with us, to let us dive into your series. And we can't wait to kind of continue on that journey with you. So thanks for taking time out of your day.
Thanks so much for having me. It's been wonderful. I really enjoyed meeting all of you. It was fun talking to you. Thanks.
Oh, wonderful. Well, everybody, we hope that you have a fantastic Monday, a great rest of your week. And until next Monday, bye for now, everybody.